for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
The Chinese have reported evidence of transmission in the asymptomatic phase based on data that they have reviewed. CDC has not been given the opportunity to review that data.
Yeah. No, China's working very hard. It's a tough situation. I think they're doing a very good job.
This virus is probably with us beyond this season or beyond this year, and I think eventually the virus will find a foothold and we will get community-based transmission.
I think when we get into April and the warmer weather, that has a very negative effect on that.
Next fall and winter, we are going to have two viruses circulating.
It might not come back at all, Jeff. It may not come back at all. He's talking about a worst-case scenario where you have a big flu and you have some corona. And if it does come back, it's not going to come back, and I've spoken to 10 different people, it's not going to be like it was.
I have mine when I'm in public right here that I use, that this barrier, in case I was in fact infected, if I didn't know, is a barrier to prevent me to protect you.
Can you take it off because I cannot hear you?
I'll just speak louder, sir.
Okay, good. You want to be politically correct.
Not all the states have met those criteria.
Okay. If you look, the numbers are very minuscule compared to what it was. It's dying out.
These decisions about schools are local decisions.
Schools should be opened. If kids want to go to school. You're losing a lot of lives by...
As restaurants and bars decide to open up, consider these tips to protect employees, customers, and communities and slow the spread of COVID-19. Urge employees to stay home if they feel unwell. Require employees to frequently wash their hands, especially before, during, and after preparing food and after touching garbage. Wash hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Have employees wear face coverings if feasible. Make sure to have enough supplies to support healthy hygiene like soap, hand sanitizer, paper towels, disinfectant wipes, cloth face coverings, and no-touch trash cans. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces like door handles, phones, cash registers, bathrooms, chairs and tables, and countertops. Use disposable food service items to limit sharing of items like menus, utensils, and condiments. Use touchless payment options to avoid direct hand-to-hand contact between customers and employees. Encourage customers to use drive-through, delivery, or takeout options. If seating customers, prioritize outdoor seating. Change the layout of tables or chairs to make sure parties are spaced at least 6 feet apart. Consider installing barriers, such as sneeze guards or partitions, at cash registers, host stands, or where staying at least 6 feet apart may be difficult. Avoid large gatherings and discourage crowded waiting areas by using a phone app or text to let parties know when their table is ready. Stagger or rotate staff shifts and break times to limit the number of employees working at the same time. Remind staff to stay at least 6 feet away from each other and customers as much as possible. Post signs and posters to promote healthy hygiene habits among staff. Include messages about healthy hygiene when communicating with vendors and customers, such as in emails, on business websites, and on social media accounts. For more information and tips to consider, check out the link on the screen or visit cdc.gov/coronavirus.
Bermuda, American dream becomes an American nightmare. Whole heap of things are going on in America. I see Louisiana almost flood out in I believe on Bourbon Street. I see water like it's a river run from Bourbon Street, man. May I tell you? And then we see the COVID, the highest amount of COVID patients in the world. Gone over 3 million and something, 130,000 dead. And them behaving like stupid people. We see all of the people them who are giving people them certain information is now on Donald Trump's 13 file, or if them in any file. I'm telling the people I'm responsible for give information to bypass the CDC. For those of you who don't know what the CDC means, the Center for Disease Control and the main man, Fuji, or whatever them call him, is now become an enemy. So, predictions is not good. Because we see California locked down again. Them open and lock down back. We see Florida is under some serious threat. When we say threat now, we mean death. Arizona, Texas. Most of the place them now is going to lock again, lock back. And meanwhile, we're watching that going on in America. We just hope that these opening up where we are doing so we don't get caught in that illusion that things is alright, so we can do certain things now. Because we hear Winston, I say, some of the people them who come is in places that them wasn't supposed to be and them not following the thing about self-quarantine. Them self-quarantine and you can see them in some places where them not supposed to be. But them thinking now to open the south coast with this corridor. Them talk about like what them do on the north coast. So I could see what will happen. Because we can't take the whole heap of problems right now. Because we have so much governmental problems that we have to face now. The corruption and the corruption. The crime and the crimes. But we is resilient, and even though we ball and go on like this and go on like that, we always find a way out. Yeah, we always find a way out. So we just have to tell the people themselves to just hold fast, you know. Hold fast. Anyway, good afternoon. This is the Stepping Razor, the art of war. We start out late. I don't know why, but we start out late. So we're not going to make that confusing. We have some things to cover here, but we want to get to the I could take some other and come back. I could take the other and come back. This is the Stepping Razor, the art of war. Yes, may I tell you, Vibes Cartel coming through. An old vampire, Peter Tosh live all the while. Speaking of prisoner and prisoner, and making the youth them come prisoners. About a week or two ago, we mentioned about a killing in a GP. I want to hear nobody say a hoop about it. I don't know if it's because there's a prisoner get killed, but I think it was the 4th of July, a prisoner was killed in GP by a warder. The name of the prisoner is Darren Brown. So we don't know why is it that we're not here. It's like it's an undercover, undersheet, under backyard business. Agwan. Darren Brown is the name of the prisoner. Was killed in GP. So we want to tell you about something what happened last week. A brethren call and we'll talk about the name. We'll talk about Queen Victoria. And I don't know, we don't hear this on the radio neither. Well, not that we don't hear it on the radio because I say it on the radio, but we don't hear this afloat around the place very much that the Queen Victoria statue is in need of some repairs. The Queen Victoria statue is in need of some repairs. Her hand gone. Not the whole light. Don't have the wrist part, I think. It's gone. And the government is sending for somebody, a foreign, to come repair it. Queen Victoria. For those of you who don't know who Queen Victoria is, she was the Queen of England. And that she's one of the ancestors of this Queen Elizabeth here, the second. But Queen Victoria was responsible for the first ship went to Africa and that man captain named, well, I can tell you about the ship first, because when I was a youth, I used to hear Rataman and say, Jesus, bring we come here. Yes, we used to hear that as a youth. I hear the Rataman and say, Jesus, bring we come here, you know, so they're not with Jesus. When I grow now into Rastafari, I come realize a ship did name Jesus. A ship did actually name Jesus. And that ship was run, captained by a man named Hawkins. And it was sent there under the watchful eye of Queen Victoria. John Hawkins. Because in them days, to them name the ship them after some people in the Bible, you know, like John the Baptist. You have a ship named John the Baptist. But this ship, Jesus, it says Jesus, took Africans and carried them to what we call in America and also in the Caribbean also. Queen Victoria, the road the pier, largest pier was in the Caribbean. Victoria Pier, a Jubilee Hospital, Victoria Jubilee Hospital, is Queen Victoria name after. Anyway, so I did ask the brethren now, when we attack, where I say, them statue there now, we don't really need to have them statue there because we have enough icons right now to satisfy our thinking and consciousness. But the statue them, even though it not going to provide clothes and shelter for the people them, but it will provide a certain sense of self-worth for a nation that has been polluted and bruised for centuries. Yes. It might not be a thing we say, because them get rid of these things, the people them going to be more healthier. Well, maybe them be more healthier still, because self-worth is one of the greatest things. When you're worthy. And right now, African people have no self-worth, no dignity, no pride in themselves. And I think that the getting rid of these colonial symbols and replacing it with things that the people them can relate to. You know, like Marcus Garvey Boulevard, you know, them kind of road there. You know, in a Corville, you have the names them of the artists them, you know, who did forge certain things in a Jamaica, musically. Now, if the youth them grow up and recognize these roads as relating to themselves, I think it's a help provide a certain self-esteem. What do you think? What do you think? Because we have been, look what we go through. We need something for uplift the spirit. The white Jesus not doing it. The white Jesus not uplifting with spirit at all, because it's still a part of the colonial system. That image, that statue of Jesus represents the death and destruction of African people. Not the rising up, not the resurrection of African people, but the death and destruction of African people. Because most of these people who took Africans from Africa, who took the Indians from India, who go and kill people in their own country, gave credence to this argument of the blood of Jesus. I know black people still maintain that and don't realize it's not working. So when we tell the brethren, say, all right, who was sent on? I think him that call from St. and I say, who was sent on? Him never know. I say, well, you want to go get homework. I go send you go home to go find out who was all these people. I remember that years ago, I did that kind of thing on Cutting Edge where I actually tell the people them, the 14 different parishes what them represent. So today I want to know, repeat the reason and the who of the Jamaican parishes, the names of the parishes and which part the name them come from. It's a serious colonial experience you go through. The name of the parishes them, the 14 parishes, because at one time there was about 20 parishes, you know. It's in your school book, you know. It's in your school book. One time there was about 20 parishes. Now it's 14, but all of them have a name. Go and go for the news and come forward. Hear the news a while ago. I talked about Zenzi, the Mandela's daughter. That is really something else, because sometimes when you hear about somebody, you feel away, but it's when you know that somebody personally, it makes you even feel a strange away. So when we hear she pass away, and because we know her personally, I say, wow. But now them I say, she could have underlying things are going, and the COVID just finish her off. Like most people know where we are here about, you understand? It's not the COVID that kill you, know, it's the underlying thing where you have. And we hear about, especially black people, Latinos, in America right now, the people them that are affected, the death ratio is amongst black people, Latinos, and the Hispanics them, and we know why that happened. Because of them eating habit. Because them say the obesity that confront these three groups in America. Because when you look on it, white people live in a certain area where them can spread out. White people have money, can buy certain food, go old foods and all them something like. Black people have to go just nyam, well them don't have to, but a McDonald's run this. Hey, you ever watch all that? You ever watch all that Hispanic bread I eat it? With the whole heap of gravy upon the bread and it look like blood I run down upon him and all them something there. You know. Anyway, black people over the years, look at what we say, them used to say brown people now. People of color. You see, people of color mean people who is not white. That's how them color people. And may I tell you, say, you see, over the years, the racism that exists in America and the opportunities that is extended to white people and the areas where black people live, it's not because them want to live there, you know. It's just how the system set up and designed to continue racism that will keep one set of people controlling the next set of people. Now you see, the obesity problem will confront people of color in America. They must show you, say, that is why the death ratio is so high amongst this group. Because, me remember when I just go to America, man. I'm a tour, I'm go out in Atlanta, because when you go to Atlanta, you know, there's some black woman over there where you say, wow, the black woman them look good over there, you know. Years after when you go back there, you know, Rasta, I tell you, say, it look like a ball run through the place. Because everybody look like a ball. Just round and, you know, and it's not like they round and look good. Yeah, you know, it's like they round and just gone up in the sky, them kind of way there. You see a black woman walk down the road and you look from her from behind, you know. You wonder if it's three people have on the same clothes. You know, it's like there's no taking care of self. Because the the situation that them find themselves in, don't allow them to think about health consciousness. You know, I mean, you have some black people who go through the cracks and get away with the family, but the majority, you go out in a Brooklyn, you know. You go out in a Bronx. I mean, I talk about Bronx over the other side, not just part the Jews them there, over the side with black people there. Like a Flatbush divide over there, so the Jews them side, for the black people them side. And when you look on the conditions of black people, it's like the conditions in the ghetto here, so still, you know. Yeah, but there's a systematic racism that exists in America where allow for that for continue. It allow for it to continue. So when the statistics them are show, say the ratio of black people, Latinos and Hispanic people were dead from this thing and all. It's overwhelming. And in Arizona where you find mostly the Mexican them where they come across and them have the Spanish. Arizona is a kind of Spanish colony like, and the people them down there, even though them talk English, but a whole of them talk Spanish. Them do have no health conscious about them. Them know nothing about no old foods and health food and, spinach and arugula and, them none of them something there. Just give me a lump sum of food. Me hungry, me no want nothing to make me feel hungry. So as much as me can eat, but won't make me feel hungry, me go eat it. And it's a whole heap of starch and all sort, protein and all them things there. We catch them. So when you look on the health aspect right now, the COVID catch them. And the obesity, which is that demonstrates in America, they must say the obesity catch them. The three set of people them, when we just mentioned, the obesity catch them. And that is why you find it so much black people. It's not a conspiracy. It's something where it's embedded in American tradition. The racist mentality of Europeans in a country that is not theirs. Where them kill the Native American, them put them on reservation, put all smallpox in a blanket to wipe them out and them still there. Where them fight and get the people them land and control the land. Where Manhattan was bought for $25. Manhattan, one of the main, what them call it, metropolitan area of the world, was bought for $25. And I say it once, I say it twice. I've never walked in Manhattan yet and see a family, a Native American family. Even though it's them, they own it. It's an island, Manhattan is an island, Them did own it. But now, if you look at the store, them the Native American can't be going to the store, them. The suicide rate amongst Native Americans is more than the other group of people. Suicide rate. And it's for them land. For them land. Yeah, them are going to move the John Wayne. Them about airport now, California. Them John Wayne airport. Everybody know John Wayne is. Big, strapped cowboy, a kill one of Indian and cavalry and all them things. Him was one of the biggest racists against the Indian, them, He make some statement where them come out catch up with him now, that they must say, look here, you see the amount of things we say against black people and Native American, it's time them top long call the airport, John Wayne Airport, remove that name. So all over the world, this thing is like it's like the COVID where I catch on, The idea of moving these racist, white supremacist ideas and symbols. It's now. It's now. And it getting more and more embedded in the minds of so-called minority groups, which is lie. Minority groups. It's more and more them I realize, but yes, that's true. Look on the Confederate flag. Anyway, we was talking about the COVID the health of so-called colored people. We talk about the Native Americans and how the land was taken away from them by invaders, because they invaded America looking for land, moving from Ireland and those places in the British Isles, and end up in America. And then they started to fight against each other. The Confederates from the South versus the British, and not the British, versus the same white people, them, when I have to separate them. And the racism that was fought for from Washington, we are talking about the President of America, Washington, Lincoln, who them claim free the slave them, which is a lie. Lie. He never free no slave. He never free no slave. Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, all of them come down. Had racist, white supremacist mentality. But they were placed as symbols of salvation to the American cause. And we know that what is embedded in the American cause is white supremacy over all others. It is in the anthem. The anthem was not written for an anthem. It was a poem that was written. And it was, and as a matter of fact, it was written about 100 years before it became an anthem. And in that anthem, if you look on the third, what them call the third, everybody know me I talk about, I can't remember the third chorus, the third line, the third, you know, in Jamaica we don't go verse. Yeah, verse. In Jamaica we don't go sing one verse of the anthem. If you ask most youth, what's the second and third verse, they don't know. But in America, there is a line that represents how white people saw the Native Americans and black people, especially black people. And that symbol that you see create a whole Balu a couple weeks ago where the Governor General have on that symbol. That symbol represents part of a religious belief by white people where them have a white angel, St. George, have him foot in the neck of a black angel, where they would call the black devil. In him neck him have them foot. And that represents a symbol of white supremacy. The Governor General represents the Queen, the same Queen who them go in a parliament and declare, long live the Queen. Long live the Queen. The Queen is 90 years old, she live long. But what has that empire done to maintain and sustain the people who they murdered and ravished for how much years? 400 years. What have they done? What have they done? I can tell you what they did. They indoctrinated some of the slaves to become like them. And in turn, they started to manipulate the people who entrust them to do the business of the state. But they all do it in the interest of their colonial masters. That is not visible in Jamaica physically. But the doctrine that they continue and perpetuate is of a colonial mentality. That's why we call them bossy slave. Bossy slave because them in the Queen House, them call it Parliament House, and they maintain long live the Queen and her successors and whosoever come after and after her. Them have a mace in there where represents the presence of the throne of England. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And we have the Governor General sit there representing a white colonial system over a so-called independent state. And the people them who is the slaves have to pay him to maintain colonialism over we. We have to give him big house to live in. We have to give him food money, chauffeur, and pay, all of them get paid. And it's not the Queen that pay him. It's not the Queen that pay him, it's we. And we have prime ministers come and prime ministers go and maintain that system of colonialism. That is why them is so corrupt. Because just like the British Empire that was corrupt and thief, Henry Morgan and all of these guys who come across as so rob, rape, kill and murder. It's the same thing them come a do in the black skin. Like roast breadfruit. And it's not even the good breadfruit where you can scrape off the black half fight. Them roast. You can't scrape off the black, but when you cut it in two, the heart of the breadfruit is white. These are the people them that govern us. So when we talk about now the idea of these symbols that we mentioned, we want to talk now about what we said we was going to do. We want to tell the Jamaican people who is too old to remember why Clarendon named Clarendon and Hanover named Hanover and Kingston named Kingston and St. Andrew named St. Andrew. And we want to tell the youth them who has never heard it before why them live in a who was Portland, who was St. Mary, who was St. Elizabeth. We want to refresh your brains and refresh your education in this matter. So, we want to start with Clarendon. Clarendon was named in honor of the Lord Chancellor Sir Edward Hyde, Earl of Clarendon, one of Jamaica's youngest parishes. Clarendon was formed from a combination of three parishes: St. Dorothy's, Vere, and the old parish of Clarendon. Before the merger, its capital was Chapelton. So it's three parish make Clarendon. Remember I tell you say Jamaica did have more than 14 parish. Okay. Hanover, Jamaica's second smallest parish. Hanover was established in 1725 and was named for the reigning monarch on the British throne, George I, who was from the House of Hanover in Germany. George I, who was from the House of Hanover in Germany. Kingston, the capital of Jamaica, is the smallest parish, yet the most populated city on the island. Kingston was founded in July the 22nd, 1692 by Colonel Barry's Hog Crawl. Colonel Barry's Hog Crawl as a refuge for survivors of the earthquake on June the 7th, which had destroyed 2/3 of Port Royal. The original grid pattern of Kingston remains the same today except for a few additions. The additional streets were named after the councillors at the time when the town was founded. Manchester. In 1814, Manchester was formed from the parishes of Clarendon, Vere, and St. Elizabeth. It was named after the Duke of Manchester, who was governor of Jamaica when it was formed. Can you imagine that? All of these guys, because them was that, the parish The whole parish either name after them or where them come from. It was named after the Duke of Manchester, who was governor of Jamaica when it was formed. St. Andrew. St. Andrew was one of the first parishes in Jamaica to establish by law in 1867 before being established. It was known as, guess what it was known as? Ligani. The Taino word for iguana. As Kingston grew in popularity, wealthy residents of Kingston began buying old pens. Listen to this, you know. Listen to this. As Kingston grew in popularity, wealthy residents of Kingston began buying old quote-unquote pens in St. Andrew. Quote-unquote pen originally referred to a farm where livestock was kept. And until recently, many areas in St. Andrew were still called pens. Pen soon came to be considered a derogatory term for places where people lived, and many of these pens were renamed gardens. Now I can tell you about when my granny used to live at Jones Pen, which is Jonestown. When we hear about Trench Pen, when we hear about Admiral Pen, all of them the name Pen, because animals stock and anything there anyway. So them say it was a derogatory term for places where people lived, and many of these pens were renamed gardens. St. Anne. St. Anne was named after Anne Hyde. Now, how she become saint, I don't know. Wife of James II, King of England, and is recognized as the largest of all the parishes. It is known as the Garden Parish for its bauxite agriculture and livestock production, and perhaps most notably, its tourist attractions. So, now you know who was St. Anne. She was the wife of James II, King of England. I don't know how she became a saint. St. Catherine. St. Catherine was created in 1867 when 4 smaller parishes were joined together, and is named for Catherine, Queen of Charles II. See it? We want to come back to it. Arise. This is the time to rise up. Yeah, man, this is the time to rise up. So we're going to continue what we was talking about, the naming of these parishes that will become known as the 14 parishes of Jamaica. So we reach at St. Catherine, I will tell you, say, St. Catherine was named because of she being the queen of Charles II. St. Elizabeth. St. Elizabeth is one of the oldest parishes in Jamaica, originally including much of the western section of the island. It was split to form parts of Westmoreland and Manchester in 1703 and in 1814, respectively. So, St. Elizabeth was named in honor of Lady Elizabeth Modford, wife of Sir Thomas Modford, governor of Jamaica between 1664 and 1671. Up to now, we don't see nothing will represent the majority of the Jamaican people, because them things get named long before most of it born. Long time. Now we are here. We are here. Anyway, St. James. St. James was one of the second group of parishes formed in Jamaica, and it's said to have been named by Sir Thomas Modford in about 1655 for the Duke of York. Them name it for the Duke of York, you know. Because it's all this Modford man. This Modford man have no stock, you know. Because him have a hand in St. Elizabeth, Lady St. Elizabeth, and him have a hand in St. James. Because him say, all right, I love that brother there, you know. So here we know. See the Duke of York, who later became James II, how they become saint. That is the point, you know. The point is how the hell these people just put on saint upon themselves. Well, I mean, really. Anyway. Yes, anyway, we come read again. St. James was one of the second group of parishes formed in Jamaica and is said to have been named by Sir Thomas Muddyford in about 1655 for the Duke of York, who later became James II and was a reigning monarch at the time. It was, however, much larger at the time, as it included what are now the separate parishes of Trelawney and Hanover. You hear that? St. James, Trelawney and Hanover was once engrafted in the parish of St. James. St. Mary. St. Mary is well known for being one of the first sections of the island to be occupied by the Spaniards. It is believed to have been named after the Spanish port Santa Maria. Although Muddyford's daughter was called Mary, and when St. Mary was first formed, it was next to the parish of St. George, which was named after George Needham, Mary's husband. I tell you, what a catastrophe. So, St. Mary, the daughter, although his daughter, Muddyford's daughter, the man have enough argument in a tree parish. St. Mary was first, when St. Mary was first formed, it was next to the parish of St. George. We have a St. George again, which was named after George Needham, Mary's husband. Trelawney, established in 1770. This parish was named after William Trelawney, former governor of Jamaica. Westmoreland. Colonists named this parish Westmoreland in 1703 after the English took over the island from Spanish rule in 1665. It is likely that it receives its name as it was the most westerly point of the island. Savannah La Mar, the capital, was developed as a port from which sugar was exported and dates back to around 1730. Portland. Portland was named after the Duke of Portland, governor in 1723, the year of the parish's formation. Portland is a parish located on Jamaica's northeast coast. It is situated to the north of St. Thomas and the east of St. Mary. Now, it's interesting to stop at the Portland thing a little. Lord Portland, one of the family of the original Duke of Portland, came to Jamaica and got in parish. And the Maroons, in at this modern time, and when I talk about 50 years ago, we are talking about since me depend this program here. Since me depend this program here. The Maroons sit with this man, Lord Portland, and the treaty that them did sign, who them claim say, a trick them get tricked because they never can read it and they not put the X there. These Maroons can now read and them re-sign the treaty in a Portland, sit down with this white boy named Lord Portland. Them re-sign the treaty without making any adjustment to the treaty. So, that is just a little anecdote for you here. St. Thomas was named after Thomas, Lord Windsor, governor of Jamaica in 1662. And those are the parishes, how them get them name, who them get them name from, and where them get them name from. Now, looking at that, where in that we as the majority of Jamaican people can say without a shadow of doubt that this is very inspiring. This is very inspiring. A statue of Usain Bolt to a youth is very inspiring. A statue of Bob Marley is very inspiring. Names, given what we know of the history of those people. The history of those people is nothing but murder, rape, rob, death and destruction to any indigenous people that them come across. You name the continent. You name the continent. From Australia to the North America, South America, Central America, Asia, they have left a trail of destruction for the indigenous people, of the people them that them find. And leaders that we have now, people who govern we, don't recognize how imperative it is to really stop and check the history and recognize and realize that this is a new time, this is a new dawning, this is a new age of thinking, and there must be something there to keep the sanity of the people them. Just like all them who cause the destruction use them symbols to represent them icons, them places and them things. And it gives them a sense of self-worth, that people travel and spend millions of dollars to go to the Sistine Chapel to watch Michelangelo painting of biblical imagination. That statue, when you go into São Paulo, in a Brazil, that statue of that white Jesus that stretch out him hands, so it's a symbol, never-ending symbol that represents white supremacy. Even though the majority of people in Brazil is not white people. Think about that. And look on where we look on the churches in Jamaica. If you talk about take down them picture there, you can't take down any other picture, but don't take down the white Jesus, which is an imagination of white people's thinking that has been imprinted and embellished in our consciousness. And we wake up every day with that image in our head. And we can't resurrect ourselves. We can't resurrect ourselves up to this day. Because there's something that is pressing. And we refuse to understand that it's we and the people them that we put there to govern the situation is causing it. Because the Europeans leave them educational system, the religious system in the minds of the people. And one great leader said, the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. I have certain tune with us resonate. You understand? It's not going to be a number one tune and a big tune, but the brethren has said something where we need to listen. We need to listen, because that was what the Jamaican artist was all about. And I said was with a capital W, capital A and a capital S. That is what the artist them was all about. Awakening the consciousness and the conscience of the people who listen to reggae music. Jamaican music has helped to give rise to a revolutionary spirit where you find oppression and oppressed people. The youth, them have some big gun, bigger than where the police, them have reality. And we see Mr. Harris Chang behaving like things, him have everything under control. Look at them, they have nothing under control more than the COVID. And the COVID, the answer to the COVID was not made up in the Parliament of Jamaica. It was made up by WHO, World Health Organization, and the CDC, Center for Disease Control. It is not out of their mind comes all of these directives that them giving the public. And we said it last week, and I want to say it again. If the government is claiming victory because of what they do or did or is doing as it relates to the COVID, where it's not them come up with the answer. What is happening to the biggest scourge right now, the biggest virus right now that is in Jamaica, that has killed 1,000 times more people than this COVID? Over an average of 100 people die every month since January to now, making it about 600 and odd people murdered in Jamaica. Murdered in Jamaica. 600 and odd people. 10 people died from COVID. 700 people declared them upset. 700 people have been tested positive. 700 odd people have been tested positive in Jamaica for the COVID. Them know how to angle that because it's not out of film thinking. It's not out of film thinking. The solution come. Where is the solution for the murder rate that is taking place in Jamaica? Where them sitting down and telling you now, say, look here, less people get murdered in the past 6 months this year than last year at the same time. What a madness. And remember, Mr. Chang say, him want to get down the murder rate to about 800. Them people are not easy, no Rasta. For him point, for him target, is to get the murder rate down to 800 per year. What kind of sick mind is that? What kind of sick mind is that? 800 murders, so him don't see, him say, where am I doing say, in comparison to 1,000 and odd, 800 is an acceptable number. It's madness, total madness. Meanwhile, him again say, 200 guns. Yes, I depend it again. I depend it again. 200 guns coming to the island every month according to his intelligence. Whosoever is giving him that, them do have no intelligence. Neither him, because what? You know, Long, Shamara is trying to get some numbers from the people them who supposed to can tell me how much guns them get since January until now. You know how long we have tried to get the numbers from them. And I'm now going to say that they are refusing to give us the number. They're refusing to do it. They are refusing to do it. So I have to come back now and I am saying to you now that if them can't give away the numbers of gun them get from the criminal them since January to now, we are left to assume, deliberately assuming, that them don't even get 200 guns since the year start. And it's 200 guns them get every month. I want to know where them get them figures from. There's no figure like that. Them going on like them have intelligence about the place. Them do have no intelligence. Them do have no intelligence. Them just come up with some figure and say that. And we know that the murder rate is real in Jamaica. Real. And them want us to say them doing a fine job. Them have a radio station named JLP FM. It is broadcast all over the nation. And that radio station is there to propagate the fallacy and the false narrative that them doing a fine work. Yes, I call it Jamaica Labour Party FM radio broadcast. It spread widely across the same of Jamaica. And the narrative that them push is that the government is doing a damn good job. I know as a fact that the good job is to be lauded. And they are doing quite a good job in copying the protocols that was sent to them from World Health Organization. They are doing quite a good job. But it is not of their own thinking. We need some leaders that can think to solve problems for the Jamaican people. We need them to think and solve the problem. And the problem that is confronting us now, and for years now, with all the state of emergency and the curfew, the man them get bold now, them a kill people. Which part the curfew there? And which part the state of emergency? Them now run from police. Them are police are run from them. The gun them get prettier now, China. And them know how to dismantle the gun and put it back together faster than any man where they are upper camp. What the hell them brainwashing the people? Them I know them all come with the next election. And that is what it is now. Them coming with the next election. And them is riling up the people again. Riling up the people, and all we can hear is corruption there, corruption here, corruption almost everywhere. And we insist of holding on upon the two of them. We're holding on upon the two of them like drowned man holding on a straw. Drowned man holding on upon a straw. That is what we're doing. But the youth them go and wake up. The youth them go and wake up. It's just that them killing each other so much now that it is blinding them from understanding what is really pushing them toward that mindset. It's like a man who lay down on the road in front of Central Police Station. Because him see, say, if him lay down, and we know that happen because if you go down there night time, you see them lay down in front of Central Police Station, believe that they are more secured than if them lay down Peters Street, Peters Lane downtown, or down a King Street. Them feel more secure. Them go lie down underneath it so. And guess what? The police they come out there and run them.